Beautiful day in paradise. It's a third morning here up at Bowman Lake. You know, when I come to think about this peninsula we're on and this little cove, well, A, it reminds me of, like I say, a Pirates of the Caribbean type of movie, or, you know, you can actually picture a little pirate ship out there anchored. You know, back in the day, the Spanish explorers would go up rivers and streams up in the mountains of California if they could get up in there with their ships, and they would actually anchor their ships up in the mountains at some of these lakes. Not these ones, but more towards central California and the Bay Area, where they could go up some of the rivers and get to some of the other lakes. But that's what this reminded me of, just a little bit. And I sat back and I thought to myself, you know, I'm sitting on this peninsula. There's a wagon trail straight ahead. And some of the first pioneers of the gold rush came up through these wagon trails to work at the mines and lumber camps, eventually making their way to places like big cities like Nevada City and Virginia City and Truckee, all within a reasonable distance. And on these wagon trails, you know what the pioneers did? If there was no stage stop, because some immigrant trails around here had no stage stops. The Hennis Pass, a few miles from here, which is the alternative wagon route through Donner Pass and the Sierras, they had stage stops, but not here. So if you were taking your wagon here, obviously this would be a prime camping spot. You know, you could water your horses down right over here. You could, you know, walk your horses down. There's a little area to walk. You see there's a canoe back there. You can water your horses down here, set up camp, get your wagons, pull your wagons on in. So not much has changed on this peninsula in 150 years. Like I said, we're dealing with scenic beauty, but we're also dealing with some history. And so where my tent is pitched in the 1800s, miners and pioneers from the gold rush in the 1840s passed through here. And they utilized nature just as we're doing right now, camping, fishing, and enjoying this region's beauty. At one time, this lake was a lot lower. I mean, a lot of these lakes at one time were just meadows, and they were smaller lakes with meadows around them and marshland. And when they dammed off a lot of the creeks, because there's a lot of dams and reservoirs, they would flood these basins, flood the meadows. But back before they flooded them, there was a lot of ranches, cattle and sheep herding ranches in the Sierras, especially during the warmer months. And they utilized this land and seen the same beauty that you guys are seeing today. Welcome to day 3. We have a trip planned up to McMurray and Weaver Lakes. And then we're going to finish off the day investigating an old pioneer cemetery in the ghost town of Graniteville, which is not too far from where we're camping right now. It's about to take down the tent. We're packing up camp. I'll actually miss this makeshift tent. The air flows so nicely through it.
Hi.
And I gave you guys the grand tour yesterday. Of course, we had air mattresses, sleeping bags, and all that good stuff. But you can see, it's pretty spacious. It's too bad the poles and all that broke for it. Had a nice view of the lake and the peak. Every morning I come out around sunrise. Right down there I fished. Pretty cool, huh, guys? You come out back here. Got woods. Got a little cove. This is definitely a nice camping trip. Not a lot of Bigfoot activity. Some, but not a lot. You know, they're up here. I mean, this obviously we're in the wilderness, and areas that are hot spots we generally like to check out. And, you know, a lot of people aren't trained to look for certain things like we are. So, people camp here and don't even recognize Bigfoot vocalizations, but they're up here. They are up here. And so we're trained to recognize those things, and when we come to hot spots, they generally are hot spots. There's generally something, a track, vocalization, a sighting, something. And so it's been an okay expedition. Actually, it's been a great expedition, but you don't always get a lot of evidence. It's very ongoing work, and it's tedious. It's very tedious. A lot of hikes, a lot of research. Nice breeze coming through. We're going to go ahead, maybe play some Yahtzee, cook some sausage, pack it up, go to the ghost town of Graniteville and Weaver Lake. I'll be missing this makeshift tent, though. How can you not? It's so primitive, you know. Got everything hanging by ropes, like oh, we forgot, you know, like we've been living in the apocalypse and just couldn't find a tent with poles, so we're just like, we'll just tie it up, and there you go. Our camp, right on Bowman Lake. Yahtzee! It'll sound like Bigfoot. It'll echo through the canyons.
Like,
all the campers will be like around. Oh, somebody's playing Yahtzee. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Alright, Dad, you have to roll.
Yeah. So I decided I was going to take a leak. This is no big deal. But I came up here and I was taking a leak and I looked over to the left of the tree. And I'm like, there's a freshly broken branch. Okay, this wasn't broke when I came into camp. Camping right here. But it's broke now. And it's fresh. It's so fresh that it's greenish. I mean, the wood's green. You can see it's green. You can see the sap. See the fresh sap? It's not even discolored. It's clear. And so, this was broke probably last night. I'm telling you, I heard something last night. I also heard the first night we stayed here, something, I didn't hear it come down. There's a little wash behind this tree. You can see how it dips down a little. I'll show you. But something dove in the water here, because you can access the lake from this wash, or rundown. You know, there's multiple rundowns because you have the peak. There's peaks surrounding us, and they have canyons and washes, and the water runs down into the lake. And so sometimes you get these seasonal creeks. And you can tell this is probably a seasonal runoff from the higher peak, from Quartz. You see you have Quartz Hill. It's where all the mines are. The water run off and down into this gully, or natural wash. But it's almost like something grabbed the branch. I'll show you. This is not any set path. It's just a bunch of rocks and open areas with trees. But it's like something came down, you see, between the plants and the rocks, grabbed the branch and snapped it, and it's green wood, to maybe get this balance or to tread very carefully, because our camp's right here. And then it's like it worked its way down, and you heard this big kerplunker splash. Or something stood up here, picked up one of these rocks, and tossed it in the water to scare us at camp. Maybe to chase us out, who knows? And so, it is a possibility. And you can see these trees are rather flexible. Look. You understand what I'm saying here? And this, just snapped. So, sometimes you have more questions than you do answers. I don't know if Bigfoot came through or there was a human peeping on me. A very strong human that snapped that in half. But I'm telling you, I've heard things at camp, vocalizations and such, and I do believe they're up here. You know, here's the problem, okay? I'm going to tell you guys what the problem is that this area a few years ago wasn't very popular. People really didn't care much about the mining history or the little semi-ghost towns that maybe only a couple graves exist. Or, you know, places like Quartz Hill or, I mean, are so remote. Even Red Hill or Red Peak, call it what you will. But when you look at a place like this, and you come over here and you look, I mean, there's two creeks straight ahead of us, one on each side. That goes up at the end of Bowman Lake. But you have cliffs right here, and you can go up into, there's multiple canyons, and there's other lakes above. But you have this massive peak. And it's all forested, and there's canyons, and creeks and rivers and ponds and, you know, areas where there's hidden pools of water, where there's waterfalls. So the point is that this area, even though it's wilderness, the only qualm I had about it is there was a lot of traffic going past our camping area. Now, we're still not anywhere near civilization, but people bring in their dirt bikes, their kayaks, there's other campers, hikers, and so sometimes you get a whole line of 5, 6 trucks, and people abuse the dirt road, and one guy went flying off. There's cliffs around here. He flies off a rock going like 50 miles an hour, Tammy told me, and he comes back later, his muffler's hanging and sparking everywhere. So it scares these Bigfoot-like creatures who are very shy when they see human beings. And elusive, because they know that human beings could be their demise. Because humans are hostile. They got to shoot and then ask questions later a lot of times. So with the species, you know, self-preservation of the species, and to preserve their young and keep their culture or tribe or pack or whatever you want to, however you associate them, I always think of them as more of a tribe. I think they're more tribal and probably have a language and some methodology where they use the outdoors to sustain themselves, and that's it, nothing else. Or they, you know, the way of life is the outdoors, not electronics, and that's just their tribe or culture. And these creatures are very intelligent, able to remain elusive, but as we close in, when there's more campsites being developed by the forestry, they're paving more forest roads that used to be wagon roads or just old 1,000-year-old Native American trails. The Madu and the Martis tribe was very prevalent in this area. They had villages on lakes like these, or they'd come up to these regions to gather, hunt, fish. And then in the cooler months when winter came, they go to lower elevations like the Valley of Sacramento or Washoe Valley, for example, or go up on the Nevada side, pass over the Sierras, make the trek, and stay in the valleys in Nevada where it was a little bit, it wasn't as blustery or frigid as in the Sierras where they might get 70 feet of snow back in the 1800s. But it's remote. And that's my point. Anything can. I think that as humans continue to trespass upon the most desolate regions of the Sierras, I think that it's going to push these Bigfoot-like creatures back. So yeah, I'm not going to just be able to, you know, camp somewhere and go on a 2-mile hike and find tracks. I have to physically go up into these mountains, or I have to go in the woods around me, not on any trail, and find some hidden marshland where I can measure some tracks, find some tracks, or broken branches. But I think still on occasion, you know, when the winter months come, nobody can get up here. I think these creatures will come down to the mountain and hunt along the shoreline and continue to thrive, because humans generally only can get up here for a couple months, and then winter starts usually quite early, and the roads can become impassable or trails. But as humans continue to develop this region, because years ago I read about this place and people are like, man, I camped up here alone, had this whole lake to myself. You wouldn't see an ATV, a dirt bike, or a few families camping with their kids. But years ago, I'm sure if 1 or 2 people stayed up here, the Bigfoot evidence or the Bigfoot sightings had to be phenomenal. There's probably all kinds of odd tracks and such on these shores, even in the sand perhaps right here leading to the lake as something crossed to get some water. I don't know if something threw a rock down in that gully, or if something physically dove in and swam across, or was hunting for fish. It wasn't a bear. Came out, shine my light. There's just nothing out there. It's like it dove in and just disappeared. So I'm thinking more something may have threw some rocks and was holding on to that tree while doing so. But as we encroach, as humans encroach upon the tribe, the Bigfoot tribe, or the Bigfoot lands, because this was their land before anything else, as long as humans encroach on them, tracks, sightings, and so forth will lessen, because they will go up to much higher elevations where humans hardly ever dare to venture. There are some very rugged canyons. These things can sit all day long under a tree in one of those canyons, and there may be one human every 20 years that goes up, tries to pull some crazy stuff and go up through it. So, yeah, I mean, you got to think about that. I mean, I've seen this snake. I've never seen that species. So there could be a lot of unknown species, including Bigfoot up in the Sierras, waiting to be discovered in the most remote areas or regions. So, you know, like I say, maybe something was grabbing onto the tree and came up and came around quietly, but something put some force into that. And I took a leak yesterday, and this was not like this. So this happened last night. This happened last night, folks. Check us out, www.paranormalghostsociety.org. We're on the hunt for Bigfoot, America's great ape. Also, I'd like to say that I'm not saying Bigfoot did this, but I'm just saying that a lot of force had to be applied, because I never insinuated that. So when people watch a video, because there's always skeptics, just know that we would like to say that something broke the branch. Human, Bigfoot, I don't know. But you have to look, there was force. This is near my campsite, and this just happened fresh last night. So it's either A, Bigfoot did it, B, a human was peeping on me, or C, an animal came through, and I don't know, maybe a bear tried to reach up on the branches to climb, and it broke, and he took off running. Anything's possible. You know, we got to keep an open mind. We really do. Got some cheesy macaroni with broccoli, sausage cooking. This is my barbecue spit, folks. Don't you love the Sierras? It's like a lost paradise. What's there not to love? I'm sitting here cooking sausage. I've never been so happy to cook sausage in my life, because I stand here and I got this beautiful lake and cove before me, and this beautiful, gorgeous peak, which has cliffs built into it, and beautiful forest. You can even see some green meadows up on the side of the mountain. It's a different world on every mountain and every lake here in the Sierras. Some Montreal flavored sausage, a little spicy, has a little zing to it. Cheesy mac with broccoli. In the heart of the Tahoe National Forest. Count me in.
Yeah, let me see it, Kayla.
So we're packing up right now, everyone. There's almost a sense of sadness when you leave a place of paradise such as this. I mean, sometimes when I sit here on the shores of a place like this and pitch my tent, I think to myself, if the end of the world was here, or utter chaos in society, or on planet Earth, this place would be untouched probably by any disasters, or even mankind. We'll see. Hold on. We're gonna have to cut some ropes. You're gonna have to untie some. Kind of think to yourself, man, if I had to live here, if I could stay here, I would. I would not want to go back to civilization. I could be happy having a little cabin right here, and every morning having a pot of coffee and just going for a hike around the lake, exploring something new in the woods. You know, exploring all these little peaks around here. I could deal with that. You know, even a 6-month retreat, you could. I mean, you could see the bottom. It's like 12 feet down. You could see the bottom. It's paradise, man. It really is. And there's a lot of snake species here. I've seen like 4 different snake species. I like to hang on the shores. But they don't mess with you. Everybody freaks out, but there's all sorts of wildlife here. Lizards, snakes, a lot of bird life, various species of fish, bluegill, bass, trout, you know, brown trout, rainbow trout, black bear, mountain lions, possibly wolverine. And I mean, the list just goes on and on. Sierra beaver. There's a lot of nature here. A lot of nature. And so, yeah, there's a little bit of a sadness because life is simple here. You know, we just ate sausage. I had my morning coffee, sausage for lunch. And I did a little fishing. We played a little Yahtzee out under a tree with this view in front of us in the lake. And so, you know, as people continue to visit here, even like me promoted these like PGS has promoted these places, I expect it to continue to grow. You have a wagon road that follows this lake, and it's rough, but you know they're going to pave it. That's what they did to the wagon roads up by Loon Lake, old ranch roads. And we camped there last year at Loon Lake, and it's paved for 20 miles on end, man. And it kind of takes away from the area. So we would like it to stay desolate, but I fear that this place is going to become booming in the next few years. But this is my trip here. This is my trip to Bowman Lake, and you guys get to see it. So it's special in its own way. And so yeah, there'll be a sense of sadness to not be able to get up at sunrise and see that peak, or the sunset glimmering off the lake, or the peak looking red every evening, or the full moon above the mountains, or the beautiful waterfalls nearby, or the ability to raft or go for a dip. We'll miss those things, but we will be back, and we have hundreds of more places in the Sierra Nevadas we'll also be visiting. That's our prime focus. Although we have other projects in other states and areas, our prime focus is always the Sierras. We put out a lot of expeditions, adventures, and today we're taking down the tent, and it's almost time to go home. We'll be going to Granite City, or Graniteville. We'll be going to Graniteville, a little semi-ghost town, try to look for the cemetery. And also, one more thing, I mean, we're camping in front of Quartz Hill up here. All the mining was done up on this ridge that you see beyond our camp spot. So you got the wagon road, the mines, the reservoir and the lake, which partially was a ranch in the 1800s, cliffs, peaks, waterfalls. There's a couple creeks you go up in the canyon, there's waterfalls. It's a lost paradise, man. It is. It's not just about Bigfoot. Yeah, I found and recognized some strange things to build off of, a reason to come back even more. But it is a beautiful place, and I can't ask for a better area just to pitch a tent and bring the Jeep up and just have some fun with the family and the dogs. This is Lord Rick.
Did I hit it?
Yes, it moved. Your other can fell, though.
Did?
Yeah, let me fix it. You hit the green, you hit the Schwab's ginger ale in the middle. Okay. I got best 3 out of 3 wins. Okay, so 3 cans, 3 shots. Oh, that fell.
So did I hit the can?
Yes.
Okay. We had to hit each 7 candies then. Like, since I hit the first one?
Yeah, you got to aim for each one. You get a shot at each one.
Okay.
So best,
You ready?
yes, best 3 out of 3. Yes. Oh, you got 2 out of 3. And you got that, which can do you have left? The bottom?
Yeah.
Okay, look at, there I just see a dust devil. This is not the desert, I promise. Look, there's another bag of mine.
Oh, God. Alright, let me pump this baby up.
Nice little BB gun.
Yeah.
That's all we're allowed here. People are shooting off some potato guns and some other illegal guns.
Right.
Cannons and shit out here, but we'll be respectful. Ready.
Oh, it didn't even shoot.
No, it didn't. Yeah, I think you lost the BB. Oh, not even loaded. Ugh. We cleaned up our campsite. All we got left is our chairs. And we're just target practicing. It's a nice, fun sport to do with the boy. You missed. It shot, dude. It shot. Yeah, you missed.
Are you kidding?
2 out of 3 you got.
Alright.
All right. Should I?
Got to pump it.
No, I'm switching sides, dude.
Load it.
Did you pump this?
4 about. 4 or 5.
4 or 5?
Yeah.
You got to do it like 20, dude. You got to get some thrust.
I still hit him.
It's supposed to get really hard, so when it gets hard to crank,
Yeah.
that's when your BB goes about 1,500 feet per
Oh,
second.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want a nice, good shot. We could hunt small game. If we had to
Yeah.
survive, this would be perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, I got guns, but you don't want to ruin the meat. This won't ruin
Yeah.
the meat. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. All right, you ready for this? Yeah, stand right behind there. All right, you got this.
I'm tall,
Yeah.
so I can't.
Yeah. Oh, you missed.
Oh. It's okay.
Yep.
I think it fell out, kind of.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Did you load it?
Huh?
Did you load the barrel?
Yes.
Okay.
But the problem is, dude, does it fall out, the BB?
No.
It doesn't?
Oh, that's why you cocked the, you know the thing?
Yeah.
Here, let me show you.
It's already closed.
Yeah. See that? You load it and then you close it. So.
Alright.
Alright, you got this. Go. You shot. I'll give you 2 more shots. How about that?
I think I'm a little rusty.
Yeah.
Did it even shoot?
Yeah, it did. Did you hear the BB go?
Like this, you're supposed to do it all the way.
Yeah, no, that's what I do. I did it like that.
Maybe I'm not getting any bullets out.
Right? Did you even load it?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Let me see.
What?
Cock it back.
Dude, just trust me.
No, cock it back.
I thought you said it doesn't fall out.
No, it doesn't. One more try, you get.
I don't think
It's shot. Yeah, turn it a little bit. BB's down there. That's good.
I think it's falling out.
It doesn't fall out, Dad.
It's not hitting it. It's
Yeah.
on that level.
It's shot.
Huh.
Here, let me see it. Switch.
You give it a try.
That's how you do it. The metal, too.
It's leaking.
There's 3 holes in this.
3 holes.
Yeah.
Did it catch your BBs?
Yeah. No, it didn't. The BBs aren't even inside it. Oh, you hit it!
Both cans.
Dang!
Double candies.
Right?
That's gotta count for something.
Yeah, it should. Wow. Did it even hit this? No? It hit the other one. Look how many holes are in it. Jesus. Wow. You hit this can good.
Sitting down.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I remembered to get it because I sat it by the log. I tend to have misplaced things before, like my knife, and found it yesterday later. Jared found it. It slipped down between the seats, but I thought I was carrying it the entire time. Let's see what's around the corner. I don't want to stop unless I know nobody's coming. This is the old Bowman Lake wagon road, folks. And that's what I meant by taking it. It's historic, and we camped right along it. Pretty cool.
It just pulled up when you said that.
Oh.
It was running behind me, and I looked in the back, and this Jeep pulled up, and I said,
Well, this Jeep can go around me. This is a good area to park. I seen someone parked here. Let him go around me. I don't want to block traffic. You know what I'm saying? It's just narrow, but there are areas I can stop like this. And it's safer that way for everyone. So they're not waiting and I'm not waiting. Okay. This is the western edge of the lake. This is the other side. You can see how large. We actually stayed around back in the mountains, nestled in the coves. There's a lot of little coves. It's a little bit smaller, more narrow. The channel is more narrow, but it's pretty deep. You know, on the north end of the lake up here. But if you come here, you can see a few islands. And it's very large lake. Like I said, it's a couple miles long. And I mean, it's not hurting for water. The water levels are up to par. And the old wagon road follows it around. You can go up to Graniteville and some other little semi-ghost towns, which we'll be trying to get to today. But we're on our way to Weaver Lake next, and then Graniteville. And we'll head on home. This is Lord Rick. You have Bowman Peak and Red Hill. Further down on the lake. You can see I'm parked near the edge. There's a lot of cliffs. You got to be careful. This road has not changed in over 100 years. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's a hell of a place. It's a big lake, man. The islands and shit out there. You never realize how large of a lake this is till you drive along it and look. And you're like, man, and what is that, about a half mile across? A mile across from the widest point from here to here? I mean, that's a good sized lake. Nowhere to camp on this side of the shore, though. Or at least till you get to the little coves area where there's peninsulas. I'll truly miss this place. I truly will be sad. We could, couldn't we? We could always come back to this region. It's a beautiful region to camp. I enjoy it here. I enjoy the rafting, the getting in the water, the waterfalls, the rock climbing, the fishing, all that. I had a good bite the other day ago, and my line was everywhere, but, you know, worm gets bit. The trouts are masters taking your bait. At least some are. But we left our spot, and I'm sure it'll be taken, everyone. But that's okay. We'll come back again. There's about 50 bodies of water out this way. Some are very small and they're ponds, but a lot of the wagon roads pass them. We could set up at any of the lakes around here. There's about 20 large lakes, I'd say, in the region, but if you come along this road, you can connect to about 10 of those, and then there's about 10 smaller ones, and you can camp at them all. They're all primitive and dispersed. But you can see, folks, people travel. They go down here 50 fucking miles an hour, hitting rocks, and they can fly off and roll off the cliff. And that's certain death. It's pretty deep. You'll drown. You won't be able to get out. But see, I can film because I have a pretty steady hand driving. Plus, I don't speed. I don't want to damage anything. Yeah, I don't want to damage the axle or bust a tire or go off a cliff because I bounce. But this is straight up, folks. There are cliffs. And you know what? A lot of people take their kids back here. You got to have confidence to come back to a place like this. This is a straight drop off and it's eroded. There's rocks falling off. You don't want to get too close. You hug the side, but it's a single lane road. And if somebody comes speeding down here, it's not good. I have a feeling they're going to pave this. I have a feeling that one day they're going to maybe even make this area a national park like Loon Lake because of all the recreation it offers and all the paradise this place provides. Waterfalls, lakes, camping areas. It's getting too congested in the last few years. You can see it's a beautiful place and it's getting congested. Therefore, more and more people are using this road and there's issues. Yeah, there's issues. I see one guy tipped over in a photo. And it's like you had to be speeding, man, because, you know, I have came down this road and I've been off-roading for the last few days out here and I can see that these roads are pretty rugged And you have to take them with caution, or you're going to drop your muffler, or seriously go off the cliff and lose loved ones. You got to think about what you're doing. But we're going to try to go up to Weaver Lake. If not, we'll go up an easier way in. It really doesn't matter to me. It's only 3 o'clock. We're making good time. Be able to see a couple, at least a lake or two, see a ghost town, and go home and kick our feet up and relax. My son can cook me dinner while I kick my feet up and relax, since I've been cooking him steaks and sausage and all kinds of good food the last few days. I even had stuffing outdoors last night. Like it was Thanksgiving, but outside in the Sierras. This is a true lake. The size, sheer size and beauty, and all the little waterfalls and hidden areas and peaks. It's just, you can't camp on right over in here. I mean, there, you know what I mean? It's very limited space, very steep. God, I love that mountain. Oh yeah, all the time. Well, they don't bring paddles at the raft. They tip over. They can't make it to shore. I mean, there's a lot of whitecaps on this lake too. This is a really decent-sized lake. There used to be a ranch, the Bowman Ranch, and Bowman House, where the dam is today. So, it's a pretty phenomenal lake. There's a lot of history. I mean, this wagon road was built during the gold rush, and that's how you connected into Hennis Pass. You could get back to these other lakes and mines and lumber camps back here. I mean, at one time, 10,000 men were probably back here in the 1800s. Had cabins along the road and shit. Since then, a lot's changed. I mean, now all you see are campers and people with kayaks. But I have a feeling that this area in a couple of years is going to be recognized by the federal government, and they're going to probably do some serious shit with this place. Maybe pave it, build more campgrounds back in the woods. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's some beautiful sites back here. Some historic sites, too. Some of them we can't even get to. It's too rugged. But they may make them accessible in the future to the public, or where other families can get to them. I mean, there's a lot of kids here. You wouldn't think people with kids would take their, children back at a rugged place like this, but there's a lot of families picnicking, kayaking, and hiking. It's very common here. And they're just as adventurous as I am off-roading and rock climbing.
I think that we're like more northern California than any other state.
Yeah. True. I love Northern California. It's my second home.
That's what I said. I'm thinking that's where we should be from.
Yeah, we should be from, because I sure act like I'm Californian some days. Climbing up waterfalls and shit. Rafting. Toking in the raft. Drinking beers. You know what I mean? On the peaks. Like other peaks, like Maggie's Peak and shit. Run across other people that are drinking brews and smoking. It's like, I'm doing the same thing you are. Welcome to Northern California. Alright, our road should be up here. Alright, folks, we're turning away from Bowman Lake. If it's too treacherous, I'll come back. That's a nice camp spot in there. Weaver Lake and then Graniteville. And old wagon road up to Weaver Lake, and Graniteville should be coming up shortly, about a half mile. There, folks, that's the road to Weaver Lake. I think I'm going to take the other way in. There's another scenic way. It's a little easier, and it's just this. It's a little more scenic rather than going straight up the mountains in this thick brush and hopping boulders and tearing out the bottom. Don't get me wrong, folks. I could take it for a few miles and do it very slow, but I could go this way. Why risk it? I've already had a million things happen here on this trip. Except for the bees, man. Oh, man.
They got resolved after I got stoned.
I gotta get a picture of those flowers. Yeah, well, those bees were chasing us in the dark. It was a horror movie. I was screaming. We were running everywhere. Let this guy pass. All this for flowers, man. But I remember them. And so, folks, I just decided to pull off at the side of the road. Take some pictures of some Nice flower, purple flowers right there. You see them? Whoa. Maybe that's what broke that branch. Well, but it's hard to say. Whatever, it had 4 claws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe a raccoon?
I don't see any raccoons.
At least I know there's animals up here, and that if there's no wildlife, there's a serious problem.
Trying to get into
The food?
the stash up above.
Oh, good thing we had the sunroof closed, or they'd be in here eating all the food. You'd find food everywhere, because the raccoons are messy. Beautiful day out. A little warm, but much cooler here than we're back home. I mean, I can't believe the size of this lake. I really can't. It's huge. And I mean,
Doesn't look like it's low at all.
it's not. You know what? How would you get? The only way to get on the other side would be by kayak. There's no roads, so you'd have to have a kayak or a canoe to get to the other side, or you could hike. Like there's trails that go up on these peaks here. That's one way to do it. But I mean, shit. That's why Bigfoot's so prevalent in the area, because they may get 1 or 2 human beings a year on that side of the lake, at the shoreline. Because most people go for the peaks on the backside, the Pacific Crest Trail and all that. But yeah, man. Pretty cool. That's where the ranch used to be located before they dammed it. A lot of farmers lost ranches in the mid 1800s, later 1800s, because the cities around here and towns and PG&E and all these other companies wanted to dam off the areas so they could use these lakes as a water supply to fight fires, to supply towns, all that good stuff. And so where the dam was, and that island, was a ranch, the Bowman house, which sat along this wagon trail and ranch, had a barn, stables, all that good stuff. Yep. And it's gone. They built a dam in the place. These reservoirs, most of them were meadows. Yeah, there was some creek flowing through. The creek that creek we were at with the waterfalls, Canyon Creek used to flow through here. And then you'd have a little bit of a lake, but most of it was meadows till they flooded it. And there's hundreds and hundreds in Northern California, dams and lakes or reservoirs just like this one that been flooded that used to be old ranch land in the 1800s. So I just showed everybody a taste of Bowman Lake and the region and the wagon roads and the hiking and the waterfalls. You guys can make the decision yourself if you want to take your families back here, if any other Bigfoot groups want to come back here and maybe collaborate with me. It's up to you. We do this strictly, it's just volunteer work. It's a good thing because, I mean, it's not, people have a right to know what it's like back here if they want to take their kids fishing or something. So my videos will help provide that for some families who are very skeptical about coming back here because maybe the last few years they were thinking about it. I know I was. I spent 3 years thinking about this place, this area. And I finally mustered up enough strength to come up here and say, let's do it, after doing research and everything else. So you can do the research through our YouTube channel. You can see a taste of everything and decide, hey, do I want to come here or not? I would. I highly recommend this place. I give it a 10. Yeah, don't take your car back here. The whole thing is, also, everyone, is that you want to, if you come back here, you want to make sure you come prepared. It's still the wilderness. But you can get back here. Just don't take a car, and make sure you stay a few days and enjoy what it has to offer. Hey, boys. They're all panting.
Okay, I'll watch out for this big ass monster.
Yeah, I see it.
Dragon is up.
Wow. Yeah, down by the dam has good fishing. A lot of bigger fish, probably. That's why I always see, when I came in, people were fishing. It's just probably a better area to go fish. They stock it here as well at this location, near the dam where the ramp is. Definitely worth coming back here. I would give this place probably a 9 out of 10. only because there's a lot of traffic. It gets congested. There are some rowdy people back here. Most people are very nice, but still, I mean, like someone shot a potato gun, you know.
Still nice people. But
Nice people, but
not.
just very loud. That's all. I'm climbing over the dam. There we go. It almost looks paved here for a little bit, for maybe 50 feet. Into the Tahoe National Forest again. That's the last of Bowman Lake, everyone. I took some good scenic photography on my way out. And then I took a few selfies just to say, hey man, I was here on the old Bowman Wagon Road. And now we're going to try to get to Graniteville, and there's a couple small lakes behind Graniteville. Weaver and McMurray Lake.
Where do we go? Is this the campground?
That might be a camp spot back there.